Morning, Pythonistas. This is going to be a short YouTube. My next few are going to be technical, and I'm going to address Pythonistas. So if you're learning Python, that's what makes you a Pythonista. And let's say you're always learning Python. In other words, once you start, there's no upper limit. So I don't say once you've finished learning Python. That doesn't make sense. It's like once you've started learning Python, and then that's, then you're always up for the next part of it if you want. Me too. Like, I'm still learning Python. I don't admit that like it's an admission. I'm like, yeah, of course I'm still learning Python. So here I have my Spider IDE. You may recognize, if you've watched other videos of mine, there's one where I get all this Python cut and pasted. It's actually the source code from another program called Codesters, which is for like middle schoolers, high schoolers too. And I cut and older people, adults, because even if it's just fun little puppet show looking stuff. Hey, I'll get Codesters started and just show you that if you don't know anything about it, but I'll get back to it later. My friend Dave Koski sent me this expression, which I want to verify, and I need to do a little bit of change. Now this is about Python syntax is what this is about. So let me get Codesters going though anyway. Chuck Fager, interesting guy. Been reading his journals this morning. Quaker, I'm a Quaker. Quakerism encourages journal keeping, and in this day and age that means writing a blog or a journal. I have the comments turned off because it's a journal more than it's a blog. It's like you wouldn't put your journal in a drawer, write in it, put it back in the drawer, take it out, and it's full of like ads for iPods. That's what happens when I leave the comments on. They get filled with ads, and I have to go through and pick them out. And then there's a lot of intelligent remarks too. But what I do is I say, let's discuss these things here and there. So I still have places where discussion happens. It's just not right there in the blog. Just letting you know how I've got my stuff set up. So I booted Codesters while I was yakking there. And this is what Codesters looks like. And what I did is in Exhibit 1, I wanted to test a bunch of backgrounds. And I just pulled a bunch out at first like this. I'm going to show you this. I pulled out 1, 2, 3. See, I've got 3 backgrounds. But what I wanted to do was just get the words, the names of the backgrounds, and get rid of all that syntax. So I cut and pasted that over to Spider, and that's where I got this thing like here. Like I could add those back here again, see. So that's what's going on. And then I wanted to pick out just these quoted strings. And to do that, you use what's called a regular expression. That's one way to do it. And so that's what was going on here. Now with this syntax, what do I have to do to make this run in Python? So David already knows that, for example, I like a double star for exponentiation. So that's cool. I can put a single star for multiplication wherever needed. So my goal here, and then I'm going to sign out, is to turn this almost executable expression into something I can actually run. Now what else do you see needs to be done? Unfortunately, this is what you pay for when you get Arithmetic and stuff like that. If you are wedded to using the actual square root sign, the surd, it's called a surd, then you have to buy those kind of packages that lets you do that. So a lot of mathematicians, I would imagine, are uncomfortable typing out square root as a function name and then feeding arguments to it. Now that was just the square root of 2. What you can also do though is you can just take the square root of 2 like this and just assign an identity. Here, let's break this. I'll show you what I mean. Just do the following. Just do root 2. First of all, I have to import the square root function, which I can get from math import square root, and then root 2 equals square root of 2. and I can confirm what's in there. So now back to that expression I was working on. Every time it says square root of 2, I can just have a root 2 in that position. So I'm cutting and pasting root 2, root 2, and root 2. Do I have them all? Do I have them all? Now, what is phi? See, there's another one that I'm going to have to fix up. Oh, here's another one, root 2. Enter. It's still not going to work. So this is the square root of 5, 1 plus the square root of 5. If you don't know, this is the golden ratio, important number, and there it is. So back to the expression I'm working on. It should work now, shouldn't it? Because now I've defined everything in it. I've defined the phi. I've defined, okay, exponentiation, multiplication. I'm looking for any syntax errors, and I'm not seeing any. Well, there's one. We're not assigning one of these to the other. We're checking to see if they have the same value. So in Python, that's the double equals, right? And so looking further, now here I have to multiply. I can't just have parentheses right up against it, and here too. So stuff like that. Again, when you buy a high-end Mathematica or whatever, you can get away with your own, or the typeset styles of old. What I would probably do with these negative exponents is do as follows. Put parentheses around it, and then I'll show you some other tricks on that too. I'm just going to run this. Let's see, put the parentheses over here. And then I would save it for the long term. In other words, it doesn't make sense to go to all this work and then not put it somewhere. So I'd go up and say Files, Open, and put it up in a program somewhere. Actually, I don't want to open a file. I want to start a new file. But before I tried that, let's just run this. Okay, no, not in that order. So I'm going to cancel. Okay, let's just run it first. Hit enter, and it says true. Okay, so those are the same number. So that's a workflow, and then I'd save it, and you get the idea. All right, talk to you later.